Welcome back to another episode of Marvel News Desk, your best place to keep up with all of the latest news, reviews, and speculation concerning Marvel films and TV shows. As usual, we have the typical panel today. We've got Adam. You can find him on Twitter at Adam Barnhart, and Barnhart is Barnhardt. Rhiannon is with us, also known online as Brooklyn Wallace. You can find her on Twitter at Shot of Patron. And I'm Caleb. I'm on Twitter at Caleb A. Borchers. That last name is Borchers. Also, let me make a special request here on the top of the show. If you're thinking, man, I love this show, just hearing the intro makes me so excited, then, or if you're not thinking that, we would love for you to go over to YouTube and subscribe to us. This is a way that you could really help our little venture continue going. The way to get there is to go to watch.marvelnewsdesk.com. So click that in and it'll ask you right away, hey, do you want to subscribe? And if you'll say yes, that will do wonders for us in our quest to continue to make this the best and most sustainable show ever. So love for you guys to do that. Also, if you guys did not see, this week we had our big Infinity War supercut. I say ours. I mean, we're involved with it. We're helping kind of make it. Charles is the genius behind it all. That hit our thing today. We've had, where are we at, Adam? 54,000 people have seen it or something like that. So anyways, thanks a lot for everybody who's watched it. It's been really fun. My phone has been just blinking with like notifications of people leaving comments and subscribing and all that stuff. And so we're thankful for you guys doing that. So, all right. Are you guys ready to get in the news? Let's go. All right. So this is not a whole lot to talk about, but felt like we should start with the fact that Black Panther is now the all-time highest grossing domestic MCU movie. It is the most tweeted about movie in the history of the planet. And it is the highest grossing worldwide solo superhero movie. So the only mountains left to climb would be for it to get more international or worldwide than Avengers or Avengers Age of Ultron. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's slowed down at this point that we're not going to see those hit. But other than that, I mean, this has made more money than any Batman movie ever, any Spider-Man, Superman. I mean, it's kind of incredible. So we have talked about how Hollywood always takes the wrong message out of these things. Adam, Rhiannon, my question I'll ask you as we look at the box office is, what is the lesson that Hollywood should take from the unbelievable success of Black Panther?
I mean, to start off with, I would probably say the whole representation matters type deal. Obviously, you, like with Wonder Woman and Black Panther in the span of 6-7 months, was it? I mean, just look how big those movies were, culturally, not just at the box office or critically. Look at everything that surrounded it and Twitter and all sorts of stuff.
I mean, and I think it's more than just representation matters, because this isn't just that they have a movie with a minority cast. It's that they approached the subject matter with deep consideration. The thing, I mean, I was hanging out with people today that threw out that random fact of that the colors they wore to the casino scene were the colors of the Pan-African flag. Like, those kind of deep thought details, the details that it's not, I mean, there's been plenty of movies with a minority cast. Maybe not plenty, but there have been previous movies with a minority cast, but they haven't approached the subject matter with the consideration and deep thought that Black Panther and also Wonder Woman, I mean, when we go and look at that, put into the whole subject matter. So I think that's it. I mean, I think the fear is, or not the fear, but I think the wrong message would just be, we need to throw out more movies with minority characters. but the real message is just like the consideration that went towards this movie with minority characters.
Yeah, I think my takeaway on this is it feels very like vain or vapid compared to what you guys just said, but like my takeaway is you can put out a movie at any time. Like, I was not really a believer. People always said, well, you know, Deadpool did so well in February, you could do it any time. And I was like, yeah, but when you look at the numbers and the way things ramp up and down, you really, if you have something big, you want to wait until summer. And what we saw here is if you put out a really good movie and you're helped by the fact that other studios are putting out really crap movies, then you can put a movie out in February and make more money than Avengers. Like, I don't think I know I did not believe that like 6-7 weeks ago. And it wasn't doubting Black Panther as much as it was I didn't believe in that release window for a little while there. Last Jedi was sort of outpacing it because there was all that like Christmas time money that they made like during school holidays. But then once that wore out, Black Panther surged right back past where Last Jedi was at the same point, you know, week to week. And it just shows us that we can get really awesome movies any time of the year, and that you can actually make more money if you release a fantastic film in a 8-week desert of good films. Because, you know, I haven't seen much else that has come out, but I haven't really wanted to see much else that's come out. So I think that really changes things. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. I mean, like, on that, you know, you're the box office expert, but the Stephen DeKnight, who wrote and directed Pacific Rim Uprising, that came out this weekend, somebody asked him I don't even know what the question was, but his response was something to the effect of, I expect this movie to be in the box office until Avengers Infinity War comes out. So essentially, there's not a whole lot at the box office between Black Panther and Infinity War with the span that they created.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, if you make good movies, people will watch them, and they'll watch them over and over and over again. And so it seems like at some point, some studio head would realize, wait a minute, if we made good stuff, people like to watch good stuff. I mean, I know that's probably unfair. They're trying to make good stuff, but it is shocking sometimes how bad things are that are not Marvel. Yeah, I know I sound like a fanboy. Anyway, so this week, the Russos, I think it was Joe Russo, was talking about the Defenders characters in Infinity War. And he said, quote, that it was impossible to add Netflix characters to Infinity War. Rhiannon, what did you think of Joe Russo crushing your dreams so cavalierly with just one word, like impossible?
Oh, I mean, I stopped dreaming about that a while ago. They've said so many things about it not being possible that, I mean, you know, you guys know I've always held out a little bit of hope. Well, I was holding out a little bit of hope that, like, Daredevil would show up, you know, being the most popular or most well-known of the Netflix characters. And, I mean, to the known world right now, he's dead. So that sort of killed, you know, how he would show up. But I mean, there's so much, the distance has come so far between the TV universe and the movies universe. I don't think I brought it up during the Jessica Jones podcast last week, but the fact that Jessica Jones was referring to Spidey sense or making jokes about Spidey sense and stuff like that, that isn't really, I mean, so are they reading Spider-Man comics? Or, like, do they have Spider-Man stories? You know, like, how well-known is Spider-Man? They were making lots of Spider-Man references that made me feel that they were completely separated from the movie universe. I don't feel like they're even trying to pretend it's connected these days. Except for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Which you have another news topic later on that.
Yeah. I think it was Alvin, maybe. Somebody commented, I think on the YouTube comments for like a week or two ago, that actually bothered them a lot in Jessica Jones. That like the references almost didn't make sense unless Spider-Man was a fictional character that people knew about in the Jessica Jones world, you know?
Exactly. I'm right with you. Yes.
I don't think impossible is the right word. You know, if they wanted it to happen, they would make it happen. You know, that type of deal. I don't think it's impossible. If they wanted Charlie Cox to show up, I am sure they could make it work out. So I would guess they just want to keep it separated at this point. I mean, we're seeing, 47 to 60 some characters are going to be in Infinity War. So, I mean, let's let them use the movie characters first before bringing in all the Defenders. And I mean, I want to see Iron Fist punch Thanos just as much as you guys do, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's at the top of everybody's list. Oh, if only Finn Jones was in this movie, it would all be worth it. The word impossible bugged me because you're right, it's not impossible. I'm pretty sure Charlie Cox would take $1 million or $2 million to show up and film a scene for Infinity War. What they talked about, kind of more of the context, was just that they do a lot of working with other directors and stuff. They sat down. They talked about how they had to work a lot with Taika Waititi because his movie was started filming after theirs did. So they had to be very careful that the Thor in Infinity War is the same Thor as was in Ragnarok, which was a particular challenge given how different Ragnarok was from previous Thor movies. And that they had to, you know, do a lot of that conversation. They had to do conversation with the Ant-Man and the Wasp team. And they had to do conversation with the Captain Marvel team. And they had to make sure that all of that stuff made sense and fit. And there was this idea that it was just too much effort and work, and it was too impossible to do that level of checking in with showrunners and writers for 5 Netflix shows. And so, I mean, I don't know. I appreciate what they're saying. I know what they mean, and I'm sure it's really hard to make a movie with 45 characters and work with the directors of other movies. Like, all the moving parts on this, is really hard. I mean, even something like Thor's eye patch had to have been a bit of a pain in the butt to, like, you know, like, when was that written in the script? When did they know? How do they make sure? Like, they had to do a lot of balancing to make sure everything happened. So I can appreciate they couldn't have done that well. And if they had thrown in the Defenders and there had been something like a reference that had been like incongruent with Jessica Jones season 2, we would all be like, oh, how'd you guys do that? That's not right. You know, like, I can appreciate why they didn't do it, but it's, I don't know. Impossible just seemed to be like they were trying to rankle us, you know? So, in the live chat, Jack Hammer said, it used to be connected is the new tagline for
hashtag.
Hashtag it's what was the other one we did? Hashtag it's all something. Is that right?
It's all something. That's what Kev says.
All right. This was really shocking to me. The Deadpool animated series for FXX is dead. Like, FXX has pulled the plug on the Donald Glover led series. Adam, you posted this to our conversation last night on Slack. Is this kind of shocking to you? Because I'm very surprised by it.
Yeah, something. I mean, he must have gotten a different project or something, because there's no way they would cancel one of his projects because of quality or something of that nature. I mean, it seems like it's almost a too good to be true type setup, you know, Deadpool and the Glovers. So I wonder if he got something else, maybe? I don't know. I don't want to speculate saying, oh, he's going to write and direct his own MCU movie or something, but I don't know. It just seems kind of fishy that they would cancel it before even... I mean, they ordered it to series, right? And now they're just not going with it. So I'd guess he got some other gig, hopefully.
The only thing I could think on that, though, is if it's a cartoon and it's geared towards children and suddenly the violence of Deadpool. And I don't know, I mean, I realize there's Deadpool out there that's been marketed to a younger crowd. Maybe they've decided that it's just not good with the political culture at the moment.
Yeah, it was going to be on FXX with like Archer and The Simpsons.
Oh, okay.
So it seemed like it was more
So it's gonna
adult
be like
oriented.
Oh.
I mean, isn't that who Deadpool is too? Essentially, Archer with a red and black mask on.
I've never watched Archer, but I think
Kinda.
so. Yeah.
Kind of, sorta. So it kind of blends.
I'm gonna have to think on that one, Adam. Because I've watched a lot of Archer, and this is very possible.
I mean, the weird part to me is, like, there's three parts of this triangle, right? There's Marvel, there's Glover, and there's FX. And all those other connections are all made. Marvel and Glover have a great relationship. We assume it seems to be a good relationship with the work on the Miles Morales movie and his appearance in Han Solo and his appearance in Super Spider-Man Homecoming. So there's lots of stuff there with Marvel and Glover. And then Glover and FX have a decent relationship because they're making Atlanta and everybody loves it and it's this huge thing. And then FX and Marvel have the relationship with Legion. Right? So like all three of the sides of that triangle are functioning well right now. And that's the part that's so weird to me. And you get kind of the sense that like Marvel, and this is hard to read from like the Deadline report or whatever. It seems like Marvel and Glover were happy with what was happening and FX wasn't. And the only thing I can figure is like FX wanted wanted the movie in cartoon form and this was going to be too different. I don't know. Go ahead, Adam.
I mean, Disney couldn't be making any like decisions and stuff now, could they? What's the arrangement? So is it like who owns the Deadpool series? You know, because I mean, Disney's about to own FX and FXX. You know, so I mean, is there some finagling going around? Did they not want to? I mean, who essentially canceled it? FX canceled it, right? So I mean, is Disney just trying to hold it out for some new animated universe they're going to build? Because, I mean, that's probably the one facet of the industry DC kicks Marvel's butt is in the animated stuff. So maybe they're trying to do something like that.
Or there's a possibility that Disney is going to have a streaming service that they would like a marquee product on, and a Donald Glover animated Deadpool might be one of those things that they would like on there, you know? I mean, none of that makes sense to me from FX, but I don't know. It's weird. In the live chat, Michael Ford was saying that maybe that Glover and Disney are just, they both kind of wanted to wait it out until FX was under the control of Disney. So it's possible, but it just seems very, particularly because it was a series order. I mean, my understanding is FX loses a lot of money when they don't produce something that's been ordered to series. But then again, it's just monopoly money at this point, right? Because whatever money the FX spends to give Disney to make this show is money that Disney's going to have anyway in another year or so. So it's really weirdo. I would love to hear the behind the scenes stories on this someday, but all right. I didn't have this in the news. We should talk about it. Adam, you were posting some, was it Instagram posts from the new Warriors cast?
Yeah.
What is your, what's your theory about what's going on there?
I'd guess they got picked up by something. I mean, they've done this a couple of times. Where the whole crew the whole cast gets together with the showrunner, and they all upload pictures. They're all like different angles, but they're in the same exact like room in the house. So they all did that this week, but Matthew Moy said something about, I don't know, he put it some way that, I don't know, he's happy, or I don't know, congrats or something. So it would lead me to believe that they had kind of series ordering party of some sort. I just think it's very peculiar. I mean, we didn't even know that they were filming something, and now they have a pilot, and apparently it's a very good pilot, except it can't find a home. So I would guess it got ordered somewhere, probably the Disney streaming service ? Maybe. I mean, at this point, I mean, Cloak and Dagger's been sitting on the whole show for months, and the pilot was filmed over a year ago or whatever. So yeah, maybe they're just gonna keep it all in the can. I mean, then Kevin Beagle, or Beigel, I don't know how to say his last name, he tweeted once about writing the second season, but then deleted it. So I don't know. They're doing a lot of stuff, and we know nothing about it. That's what it boils down to. I would guess it got picked up somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like it's our job to get this figured out. When we started fussing about Cloak and Dagger not giving us any details, suddenly we had a release date. So I'm just going to claim credit for our podcast that this is the way that stuff gets done. So New Warriors, we're on you now. Give us a release date. Tell us where this thing's going. And also, if that's the party they have, that looked like the kind of parties I had in 10th grade, you know, like me and a bunch of my friends hanging out in somebody's like rumpus room in a basement. Yeah. Like, that looked like a really lame party for a bunch of actors that just got a big deal. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so Moy said, who's excited? And he's the only one that put hashtag New Warriors in their post. So, yeah, something happened. I don't know. I mean, that's what's so weird. I mean, everyone said that the pilot was super, super good. And then someone said this week on Sci-Fi, who was it? There was the, I think the artist of the 90s series said he watched the pilot and it's like a docu-comedy. So maybe this is going to take the place of like ABC's Damage Control. Something like that. The Office for Superheroes. I mean, NBC tried that with Powerless and it didn't even make it through 3/4 of the season.
So, Rhiannon, what sounds better to you? New Warriors on Hulu, New Warriors on Freeform, New Warriors on ABC, or Disney streaming service?
I mean, Freeform still sounds better to me. Like, if it's on Hulu, I would set my expectations much higher, I think. I just don't see it happening on ABC. I mean, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't sound like something that would survive on network television. And then Disney streaming service is just an unknown. I just don't want to have to get another streaming service. That doesn't sound good to me.
You know they're going to make you. They're going to put some Marvel crap on there that like we're gonna have to start figuring out if we can expense that out, you know, for the podcast.
Seriously.
Nice.
Like, going through my monthly expenses, man, these streaming services, they're adding up.
Wait, you live in New York City. You can't buy a cup of coffee for a Netflix subscription, right? Where Adam lives, that's like a month's rent, you know, Netflix. So.
It is.
But it's still like that amount of money that's left after my rent and coffee.
That's true.
So, like, I can only afford the rent if I don't, you know, spend thousands on my monthly subscription services.
Maybe,
but,
I mean, we could get do they corporate accounts? Can we get a Marvel News Desk account and we all get a username?
Get one account. We'll have to look into that.
I probably shouldn't talk about it on the podcast that Disney could listen to at any given moment. But oh, all right. New Warriors is hopefully happening eventually. All right. All right. Daredevil has added a new actor. Jay Ali is coming on as an FBI agent. Rhiannon, I have two questions for you. One, what do you think of him? Well, maybe that's not the right way to put it. What do you think of the casting? And second of all, I mean, I always get confused on this casting stuff. Was he probably cast a while ago and they've just now revealed it? Because, I mean, they've been filming a long time. They're not adding him at this point, right?
I mean, who knows? Yeah, I figure at this point that they are probably around episode 8 or 9. Maybe as far as episode 10. So them introducing a new character, you know, it could be... It's odd for them to be announcing it. Unless there's a reason to announce it. Anyways, so to your first question, I actually had the time and dedication this week to look him up thoroughly and watch some of his old clips and stuff, and I definitely am excited about him being on the cast. Not because of acting ability or anything, I just think he looks yummy and totally superficial about it.
I was about to say, look him up and down.
Yes. He is pre-approved. I have been joking this week because, I mean, to all our listeners that don't know, I moved to Manhattan. So I have been joking that, like, when they film in Manhattan, they can totally use my apartment instead of their dressing room trailers. And he's pre-approved. He can totally, like, you know, use my apartment as his dressing room. But I mean, like, I looked up, he's done, you know, just like a few small, I mean, like some parts, he has some YouTube clips out there. Yeah, the guests at MCU Exchange, they were saying that he connects to that character, the FBI. There was a cast breakdown, I think. I don't know if it was broken by that hashtag show, if it was broken at MCU Exchange, of a FBI character of, some sort of Pakistani descent, first generation American and stuff. So they're assuming that he's that character with moral, you know, like a good guy that, you know, might get stuck in a bad situation. So I'm interested to see where they're going with that, and I'm excited about his casting.
I'm trying to remember, are we sure this is a different character than the one they think is maybe Sin Eater, or is this possibly like a villain?
I think this is a different character than what they thought was Sin Eater. Yeah. Yeah, this looked like one of the FBI characters. Like, this might be... I mean, because the speculation is that they're doing the Murdoch Papers, where the FBI sort of closes in. You know, maybe Matt's identity gets revealed, but in general, the FBI is, like, closing in on him. And so this is expected to be one of the FBI agents. But, you know, they always have their side plots and different stuff going on.
Probably going to get another side plot where it's like an FBI agent versus another FBI agent or something of that nature. So, no, I don't know. I think that they said his name in the Deadline did, and I think he's an original character, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, yeah, I have really no thoughts.
I hope it isn't, like, too close to what we saw in Punisher.
Yeah, I actually was just having that exact thought, is that I worry that it's going to be too close to Punisher. The other thing I was thinking about is, you know, we had, when we were on MCU Exchange, we had that whole casting breakdown for Jessica Jones Season 2, and we kept trying to predict who the characters were. And, you know, Charles Murphy did a good job of picking out Carl Malice, right? Like, that's who that character was going to be, and he hit that right on the head. But most of the others were guesses that weren't right just because they were all original characters, you know? Like, it was just like a erroneous, like way to go about the conversation, to go, oh, what comic character is this? Because in Jessica Jones, the main villain, so to speak, and most of the side characters, I mean, everybody was new. They weren't comic creations. And so that's interesting with these Netflix shows, that we're getting a lot more original storytelling that makes the casting breakdowns much harder to try to predict, you know? Adam, I'm going to ask you about this one. I know what you're going to say. So Steve DeKnight, who is, we mentioned earlier, just got done making Pacific Rim Uprising. I think that's the name of it, right? They call it Pacific Rising or something in a Marvel News Desk minute. That was terrible.
Like that, yeah.
He wants to make a Moon Knight show. I assume you're pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Other than him, you know, there's only a couple of guys I think would do a better job. Noah Hawley being one of them, but then of course that'd be almost a rip-off of Legion. And the American Gods guy, I think Brian Fuller, was it? But he just got fired from another show or something. But yeah, I'd be stoked. I mean, something's got to be going on that he doesn't have a show announced yet. So I don't know if If Feige's planning on doing like a Moon Knight movie, but I don't think that. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's got to be when, not if it happens, right? I mean, the Disney Netflix thing kind of threw a wrench in the forks because Netflix would have been perfect for a Moon Knight show, but now, I mean, I don't know, man. I guess we'll see. That's the top item on my want list. Well, besides the Darkhawk movie, but I know the Darkhawk movie won't ever happen. So Moon Knight's next. Because Moon Knight, I mean, there's a chance it could happen, you know?
Do we know why he ever left Daredevil? Was it just that he really wanted to do the movie thing? Or, I mean, he was so good for it, so.
It was because he was doing Pacific Rim, I believe. I believe the Pacific Rim Uprising movie. If it wasn't, I get him mixed up with Drew Goddard. I think Drew Goddard was supposed to be the showrunner for season 1, and he wrote like the first 2 episodes. But then he had to leave because he was supposed to be doing Sinister Six, I think. And then that fell through, but he had to leave anyways, and that's when DeKnight came in. And I think by the time season 2 on Daredevil got running, I think DeKnight was already working on Pacific Rim Uprising, if not another project in between.
It seems weird to. I mean, I don't know how these things work. I mean, you've just mentioned 2 guys that made an incredible first season of Daredevil who gave up on it so that they could make a non-existent Sinister Six movie and Pacific Rim Uprising. Speaking of dumb movies that are coming out right now, like, it just seems weird to me, like, why those guys would walk away from such a great Netflix gig that they're so good at. It's not like the old days when movies were such a big deal and TV shows were like second class. I don't get it.
I mean, Drew Goddard did go on to write The Martian. I don't remember if that was before or after. I mean, I know it came out after Daredevil, but I don't know if he started production on that when Sinister Six fell through or if it was before Daredevil. Goddard, he's behind, like, The Good Place on network television. He's in a lot of stuff. I mean, he's definitely not at the bottom of the barrel. And, I mean, DeKnight, if anything's going to knock Black Panther off of the charts, Pacific Rim might. If anything has a chance against it.
It did, but it did because it made, like, Black Panther made like 16 million and it made, I think, 30.
Panther's in
but, you know, it was a 6th or 7th week of release.
I mean, these guys are protected by guilds and stuff, right? So even like if one of them wrote the script to Sinister Six, I mean, they still get a full paycheck, right? Or how's that work?
Usually the Writers Guild protects writers in that sort of way. Like, you get paid if you write a certain amount of a draft. And that's where, like, a lot of screenwriters talk about, they get paid. I mean, you can have a perfectly substantial screenwriter career and absolutely nothing ever get made. You know, you can make a living on movies that never make it to screen.
I was thinking about trying to make a career out of being a children's movie screenwriter. Like, I saw the trailer to Sherlock Gnomes, and I was like, that's garbage. I know from the trailer, I could write that movie. I have enough experience with kids that I could handle that, so. And I'm sorry, screenwriters, you're probably like, oh, he's disrespecting our... Well, none of you listen to our show. But anyways, yeah. They might. That's true. If so, we've got ideas. All right, here's the last bit of news we'll tackle. There are rumors that the Venom plot has leaked online. Some people say it's not real. Other people say that it is real. And the people I hear that said it's relatively real, I trust. So I think it is. Just a simple question. Do you think knowing the plot ahead of time will make Venom more watchable or less watchable?
I don't know.
You looked at it, Adam, didn't you?
Oh, I did. Yeah, of course. I knew. Can I say it, or can we not talk about the?
I don't want to know. So just tell me. Did you like what you saw? If the leaked stuff is right.
What I saw, it makes perfect sense that Sony would make this movie. I mean, it makes you say. All right, well, Venom without Spider-Man, what can they do? I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna like it. I mean, you might as well read the thing, because if you spend money on that, you're gonna get upset you spent money on it. So you might as well just watch. You might as well just read the leaked plot. And I mean, I've heard things that is probably pretty accurate. And the Venom movie, I know it's gonna piss every single diehard Venom fan off, and it's probably going to ruin Venom for the MCU forever. But I'm just saying.
Just to recap, you'll be pissed off if you spend money on it, and it'll ruin Venom forever. That's your review of what we've got coming.
I'm not even even a Venom or Spidey fan, but just that plot. It's just like, of course, it's going to end up that way. I mean, I wanted to have cautious optimism, but I mean, at least Kev had some input in Homecoming. You know, I mean, obviously he probably has zero say with Venom, and the alleged leaked plot shows that. I wish you'd read it so we can talk, because I have some stuff to vent about.
So it strikes me, what we should do then is we can all, instead of doing a Venom review episode for the pod in November or October or whatever, let's do a review in March when it hits to our Netflix account that we're all sharing, right? Like, and then we could do the home video release review so that we don't waste our cash on it. Oh.
It's not going to be good.
I feel bad for people who really love that character. Well, it can't be worse than what I experienced with Inhumans, so.
You'd be surprised.
True.
You'd be surprised. I mean, Inhumans,
So how does that... So there was some news about that, like, the costume would never show up in the movie. That sort of... Tom Hardy sort of may or may not have posted something in response to that. Did the plot of the movie give any insight on that?
Oh, yeah, it did. But I don't.
Okay.
Caleb won't let me spoil him.
All right. Well, you know, there's people listening. They might not. They don't want us to be spoiled. Let me put it this way: if they turn it, I'm not saying I haven't seen this, so this is just random guessing. If they put like Tom Hardy in like a military like machine gun carrying suit like Agent Venom, and then just put a black mask over his face, that would be. Ugh. I could see them doing that, actually. I could see them totally making it like a Rambo movie with a black mask, so.
That would actually... The description you just said was a lot better than the plot I read.
All right. I'm sorry that we're laughing at your misfortune, Venom people. All right. I think that does it for the news. It's kind of cool. We've got to a point in Marvel that we now can do a trailer section every week because there's always a new trailer out. So I want to talk about the Cloak and Dagger trailer. We got a full trailer for it. At this point, it's hard to remember. We got a trailer like a year ago, and then we got the weird like side-by-side movie video like 2 weeks ago, and then now this is like a real legit 2-minute trailer. The first episode apparently aired at WonderCon, and I heard no one talking about it on Twitter, but I did read some things that said they felt like, no spoilers or anything, but I did read something from, I forget if it was Collider, that the leads were pretty good, that the powers, there's a bit of a different origin from the comics, but generally they look, looks good. They're hopeful for it. What was your guys' takeaway from the trailer that we got this week for Cloak and Dagger?
I'm still so confused about this show. Like, the trailer gave some great flashbang, like, excitement moments. As you guys know, I tried to do a trailer review, and it was just me staring at it, going like, what? Okay, what? And I also, as those watching right now can see, I also don't have lights in my apartment yet, so, like, just not good for videos yet. But then there's, like, this whole there can only be one thing that they tried to throw in. Does that throw back to the comics in any way? Like, Or are they trying to push this whole the two become one? There can only be one, so they become one. Did that make any sense to you guys? The whole there can only be one crap?
It didn't immediately to me. In the comics, they have sort of a weird symbiotic relationship where, like, her light keeps him from being overcome by darkness, and he kind of keeps her from being overcome by light, or something like that. Like some kind of very ham-fisted yin and yang thing going on. So all I can think of is that, like, they've had other pairs and they don't figure that out. So one of them dies, but these guys will not die because they figure out how to, like, sustain each other, which seems like just a metaphor for codependence to me. But anyways, I don't know. It's just, Adam, do you have any more thoughts on that? You know comic books well.
Not really, but yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head with the codependency thing. So I'm not sure if that's gonna be a plot point where Roxxon's gonna try killing one of them, and they realize that they need each other to survive or something. I would guess. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, I mean, looking through Twitter and all that stuff, everyone says that both Olivia Holt and who's the guy, Aubrey something. We should show prep or something, but the leads are excellent. And I mean, the powers didn't look too bad in the trailer. I mean, obviously, we probably got the only shots of the powers in the whole series in the trailer, but they still look pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
My big question has been, so I always think of Cloak and Dagger as being slightly edgy. Like, it's about teenagers who run away together. It's less controversial today, but, an interracial couple in 1982 was Marvel pushing the boundaries a little bit. And then there was all the stuff about drugs, particularly in the drug culture of the 1980s and with cocaine and all that kind of stuff. Like, I always think of Cloak and Dagger as a kind of risky thing that Marvel did to have a interracial teenage couple of runaways who are doing drugs that become superheroes. Like, that is not like your typical formula for family entertainment. And so I'm kind of worried that this is gonna, like, I don't know if the show can be as edgy as it needs to be, but then again, freeform, I don't know, 14-year-olds are watching stuff I probably haven't ever watched in my life. So maybe it is. I don't know. I'm just kind of interested in kind of, I don't know how to put it, but like in that sort of child to adult education, entertainment, where does this like fall, and like, are they going to be able to go to places that make me kind of go, oh, wow, that's interesting? Or is it going to be like High School Musical version of those issues? Does any of that make any sense? Like, I'm just not sure where this is going to fall.
Yeah, I can't tell.
All right, let me ask this question. Does it seem like they get their powers from Katrina? Am I the only person that like seemed like the hurricane has something to do with this, or is that totally in my brain?
I didn't see it because you guys mentioned that before. So like it broke while I was at work and I didn't have a chance to watch it. And I tried waiting so I could do the like real reaction video. I didn't see the Katrina connection. I saw like water and washing and stuff. Like I mean like them, and I didn't get it. But I think it'd be cool if they go there. I mean, I'm down for all things Katrina.
Isn't it kind of like a Matt Murdock thing where they got in a car accident or something? Maybe I just viewed it. I thought they like hit the car head on and then they were drowning, and I don't know.
I mean, there's lots of bridges. I mean, it's actually fairly common to drive a car off a bridge in New Orleans.
Fairly
happens all
common.
the time. Rhiannon's done it at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's done it once. No, I mean, like the causeway from New Orleans across Lake Pontchartrain, there's cars that go off the bridge all the time. So that would be a very New Orleans car crash situation.
See, I saw the Superdome, and then I heard lightning, and then I saw like a car crash, and I saw water. And I just assumed that they were in their cars when the hurricane hit, and the hurricane knocked them off into the water. Wouldn't that be about the right age? I'm going to age myself at this point. Katrina happened what year?
Happened 11 years ago. It happened in 2005.
Yeah.
2005. Okay, it's not the right age then. Because I was thinking it was 10 years ago, and they were like 8, and they would be 18 now, But That doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm the only
we're
person
getting
that saw
old.
that then. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking for it because you said something about it, and I didn't see it. No.
Already in the live chat. The hurricane was 12 years ago. They would have had to been like 4. Okay, you're right. That's probably not.
It was August of 2005. August 29th, if I'm remembering correctly, which I may not. It was only my life for 2 years!
It's overhead shots of the Superdome that does it for me. You know, like aerial footage of the Superdome. I just think like Katrina, so.
And the New Orleanian in me, it was like, well, was the Superdome roof whole? Was it white? Was it gray? What color was it? Did it have...
They're gonna go with Caleb's theory and have the hurricane give them the powers, and then we'll be stuck trying to figure out the timeline. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that too.
And I was thinking like the storm clouds and the lightning like together are like cloud and light. I don't know.
I mean, I'm trying to think because hurricanes have hit New Orleans since then, just not major hurricanes. Maybe tropical storms. I mean, there's thunderstorms in New Orleans all the time. They've had tornadoes. Like, tornadoes hit New Orleans pretty frequently.
We are very talkative. This is turning into a long episode, and we still have a lot to go. So we're going to take a break from New Orleans meteorology talk, and let's talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What did you guys think about this week?
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was a little different, wasn't it? Okay, so let's just. I mean, people know we go into spoilers. Let's just go to it. Did you like that Evil Fitz was not an apparition and was actually just him going crazy, or did you not like it?
Loved it. So how I understood it, he's been seeing the Doctor ever since they left the framework, right? And we only saw the Doctor this week? I mean, he's been seeing the Doctor for quite some time.
I got the sense that he's been hearing him, but he hadn't really seen him until just recently. Like, it's been progressively getting worse and worse.
I think we all kind of thought that, you know, someone like Fitz having to deal with that stuff in the framework, we all thought there would be lasting consequences. And now that kind of all came full circle there. So, I loved it.
I think it's easy to forget, like the time element, because right now Fitz is living not that long after the framework, but he's lived through like getting frozen and going into the future and then doing all that stuff in space and fighting Caecilius.
Crossover.
Who is it? I'm sorry, what's the name?
Caecilius,
right? Like, so the thing is, this has been here the whole time. Like, when they're sitting there in the room with Caecilius, when he first sees Gemma again, and she's got the thing in her ear, the whole time the Doctor's been in his head, like, going, like, you should just kill him now. You know, like, this has been driving him nuts for a really long time, even though the narrative is only a few months after the framework ended, you know?
No, I thought it was an awesome twist. I mean, even though we have all seen it before in another movie, I thought it was an awesome twist. It was totally...
Movie name redacted.
You guys. Not a spoiler.
Movie name redacted.
Oh, well, there you go. I'll have to put a spoiler warning in the... to be fair...
It came out, what, 20 years ago?
That's true. If you haven't seen it, it's on you. That's right.
I mean, at what point... I mean, I don't know. I mean...
Yeah. No, that's fair enough.
You can edit that out if you think it's too much of a spoiler.
Are you glad Daisy's got her powers back? Like, I felt like this was a nice way to take care of that, because none of them were going to do that, but we need her to have her powers, because it's a lot of the fun of the show to me, to have a powered person on the show.
I thought it was a great... Yeah, I thought it was a great way to go.
There was that... Remember Chloe Bennett's Instagram a couple months ago where she said she was crying all day on set? Right after the episode, she posted another video saying this was why she was crying that much. So my conspiracy thinking mind, maybe she's just using this moment as an excuse for that and someone's actually going to die, or nobody's going to die and we just kind of all jumped the gun on that.
Yeah, it makes sense. She did have to probably cry all day on set for that scene, so... Okay, so I'm going to say something that drives me crazy. I'm interested in your take. I feel like people are being very inconsistent with the future on the show. whenever there's something bad that they know from the future, it's like, don't worry about it. We're going to change it. But then every time there's something good from the future, it makes them feel good. So, like, the world's going to be split apart. We'll change that. Don't worry, Gemma. You and Fitz are going to get back together and it'll all be okay because that's what happens in the future. Oh, good. I feel better. Like, we got a little bit of it with Mac where she's like, I'm fine. And he's like, I don't know if that's true. But, like, I kind of would like somebody who is consistent with the future. It would be really cool if we had one character that was like, the future means nothing at all. Who cares what we saw? Let's just keep living our lives. Or if we had a character that's like, I'm checked out. I'm going to go knock down some Zimas because what's happening is happening and we're not stopping it. Like, you know, like I always feel like these characters kind of want their cake and eat it too. They can change all the bad stuff and keep all the good stuff. It seems inconsistent to me, you know?
So, am I missing something? I'm still having a hard time understanding why they were kidnapped and sent to the future in the first place. To kill Cassius? Was that it? Because they were sent to the future after the world was exploded or destroyed, but then they came back before it was destroyed. So, I mean, what? I don't know. I guess I'm just not understanding the necessary for the time travel, you know? Am I the only one? Or, I mean, why? It doesn't make sense. Why go to save the world? Why do you need to go past its destruction? Is it some sort of self-reflection type deal? So now Daisy realizes to keep her powers in check or something? Or, I mean, I guess I'm just a bit confused on the whole need for time travel.
If they do it right, I think that Robin saw time as flat, like the future and the past didn't mean anything to her. And so if this is done correctly, there will be something about that will change the past. The only guess I can have is that it's Zeke. That Zeke will somehow be the key to preventing Deke. Whatever. Deke. He's annoying. Yeah.
Zima Deke.
Zima Deke. I'm going to call him Zima Zeke then. Anyway. I think it's Deke. I'm guessing that somehow him being in the past will alter something. And he'd only go in the past if he interacted with them. If they do it well, Robin saw all this and this is a master plan that makes total sense. And if they don't do it well, we'll still have this question at the end of the season. But I think you're right to be asking right now what was the purpose, because I don't totally understand it.
Well, and I think we still don't know. We still don't know how Deke came back. Like, do we? Because he sacrificed himself, and he should have been dead.
I don't. How did he come back? That's a good question.
I don't think we know.
No, we don't have any idea. Maybe Enoch magic.
Speaking of Enoch, was that not who was talking to General Hill at the end of the episode?
Okay, we got to talk about that stinger. What did you think when you saw the stuff about the Confederation and Hydra? What do you think is going on, and do you like it?
I have no idea. I mean, if Hydra, but didn't we establish that Hydra was all to get Hive and stuff, and that's all done? So what would Hydra's purpose of existence even be?
So the sense that I got is that I thought it was Space Hydra, okay? No, I'm not kidding. I think it's, I mean, when it happened, because it was like the Confederacy of what? Of Hydras, intergalactic Hydras. And this is like a Kree guy. He's got that black crap that the guy whose name is not Cassius had, right? Nice. He had that stuff. And so I was thinking, if Hive is this is this being from another planet, what if there were other planets that interacted with Hive and we got Hydras on different planets? And so it's Space Hydra. This is immediately what I thought when I saw it, and I hated it, by the way. When I saw it, I was like, oh crap, Space Hydra?
You're saying like Hydra's like intergalactic police force? Or they just want to track down all the Hives and...
It's just, it's more like well, you know, because the thing is, in season 3, they really changed things up, in that Hydra was not just this fascist organization from Nazi times, that it was this sort of religious, mystical zealots that for centuries have been sort of in awe of Hive as this being. And I'm saying, what if there's other planets where other people saw the Hive and they had the same response to it and sort of worshipped it and followed it, and there's like a confederation of Hydra-like organizations spreading the like sort of religion and ideology of Hive on different corners of the planet. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense, but you understand what I'm saying.
You would think, I mean, isn't Hive's like an ancient inhuman, right? Wouldn't the royal family have knowledge of him? Wouldn't they want to like put a kaput on it or what?
That's not in continuity. That show doesn't exist. It's not part of the MCU any longer, so. Anything else for this episode? We've talked about Space Hydra. Do you guys find it weird that we're getting characters in and out? Like, Baby Strucker's gone. Dove Cameron apparently shows up in every other episode. Crusher Creel is here or there. Oh, and what about... Did it feel weird and jarring when the Superior showed up?
I don't know anymore. I feel like they're wrapping up all of the loose ends that like everybody's wanted to go through. Like by the end, Ghost Rider's going to show up and save everybody, and everybody's going to pop back up.
But now that the Gravitonium's gone, we didn't get Graviton, so what the hell? Unless Hell already got him, that is. He's another piece to the Thunderbolts.
Possibly. Oh, yeah. Somebody else, Chris was saying in the mailbag, I was going to get to it, that maybe Strucker is Taskmaster, because Taskmaster like memorizes everybody else's movements. I don't think they give a character as important as Taskmaster to S.H.I.E.L.D., right? I mean,
I don't know. That's making me nervous, though.
Yeah, Baby Strucker. All right. Okay, so the other news. Let's talk about, so as we wrap up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the produced Jed Whedon was asked about an Infinity War tie-in, and his quote was, quote, "The movies blaze a path. When Doctor Strange came out, it introduced us to magic, which gave us Ghost Rider. When Guardians of the Galaxy came out, we were introduced to space." Which, by the way, is ridiculous. We all knew space existed before Guardians of the Galaxy. Anyways, we are waiting for that movie, meaning Infinity War, to come out so that it can open a new playground to us. What do you think that means?
I mean, it means a new element is going to be introduced. Time travel?
Right.
Well, they're already doing time travel, so...
There's only going to be like 4 or 5 episodes after Infinity War, right?
Yeah, we looked that up, that there are a few...
What if that's why they moved up Infinity War? Was so that it would help Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah.
That's it! We figured it out! It's all connected.
That's it.
Well, now they can't be connected, because, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. probably has to go back and redo a whole episode to take into account, you know, whatever happens in Infinity War.
It does suggest that our concern that the movie was coming out on the same day as the S.H.I.E.L.D. episode and what order should we watch them in, apparently they're not connected enough for that to mean a hill of beans. Because that episode was already half written, probably, by the time they made that move.
Well, I also think that move was not at all spontaneous.
That's true. So I guess, I mean, other dimensions, does that seem to be it? Like Elseworlds, maybe? But again, is that different? It seemed like an answer that was supposed to be mysterious that means absolutely nothing. It felt like Jed Whedon was just making stuff up, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, is Ghost Rider going to come back and take S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to another dimension before Thanos kills them all? Because, I mean, Jed said that they're writing this season as if it would be a series finale or something. So he didn't say that, but he says, I don't want to say cliffhangers or something, but he said that it's going to be self-containing of sorts, right? He said that a couple weeks ago, I think.
I just think it's going to be a connection we're going to hate. I just think it's going to be something like an alien invasion is apparently coming on the show. I think it's going to be like they stopped the alien invasion. They're like, yay, we stopped it. And then the next week they're like, oh, there was a different alien invasion. You know, like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be much of anything. It's frustrating.
A Thanos name drop would still be pretty cool. Except no one knows who Thanos is. Unless Ghost Rider comes back to warn them all.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. I don't know. Do you think Thanos is going to announce his name? Like, is he going to go on TV and be like, I am Thanos? Like, in World War Hulk, like, goes on TV and, like, is like, I'm telling you my plan so that I can move the narrative along. So
so that you can form a resistance.
Thanos is going to show up on, like, the Rachel Maddow show or something and be like, let me tell you what I'm going to do to your planet.
For expositionary reasons, I'm going to make this grand announcement.
All right, let's go on to our main conversation. We got a new trailer for Deadpool 2, and so we have never really talked about Deadpool that much on the podcast. We thought we'd talk about it as our main convo today. So let's start with this. We've talked a little bit, but you guys, I assume you saw the first Deadpool. What did you kind of think of it, and what are your thoughts coming into a sequel for that movie?
I mean, I think I said it last week, a couple weeks ago, or 53 times. I think there was something very special about the first one. They're going to be chasing that same special nature. And with this new trailer, I just don't think they're there. So, I mean, and that's what, yeah, I mean, we've talked about a lot, that I loved Deadpool, the first one. And that not even just loving it, I loved everything leading up to it. I loved the billboards, the jokes, every trailer, like, just made me excited about that movie, and it was something not on my radar at all. I vaguely remember watching this new trailer this past week. I remember as soon as it was over, realizing I didn't even giggle. Like, it just sort of felt like a little bit of the same, and introducing a new plot. We got to see more of Cable, and I started to wonder if he really does look too much like Thanos. And I just didn't get excited. I'm not excited.
I think it speaks a lot of the rumors surrounding the test screenings were somewhat accurate. I mean, it almost felt that they didn't focus on Deadpool at all and rather focused on the creation of this X-Force. So, I mean, I'm thinking Fox is barring some catastrophic regulatory things. Maybe they're just going to try and make X-Force their next big thing over at Fox. They're supposed to be having an X-Force movie and stuff like that, but I don't. It just didn't seem like it focused on Deadpool that much. We got Cable, we got Domino, we got apparently Terry Crews is this mutant called Bedlam, and some like Blink looking character. It kind of looked like Blink, but they just used Blink and the Gifted, so that would be confusing. And apparently Shatterstar. So I don't. There wasn't too many jokes. And I'm not sure how good of a movie Deadpool's gonna be without his fourth wall breaking antics. I just didn't see that in this trailer.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, so sequels, I mean, the going idea is sequels have to be bigger. But that seems like an inherent concern. And, this is really interesting because way back in the day, there was the TJ Miller stuff, right? Like why he left, and there was debate about whether it was budget or whatever. The first one succeeded in part because they didn't spend a ton of money on it. They didn't go too big. They just, like it was the small budget seemed to help the first one. And I just felt a little bit of bloat to this, like, wow, let's add more and more and more and more and more stuff. Like, let's go from a movie about, like, 3 characters, if you include Negasonic and Colossus. And instead, let's make it a movie about 8 characters, you know, like it feels kind of like unnecessary franchise building too. Like, I don't know. Is this making sense? Like, does it just feel like they're filling it up with more stuff?
Yes.
I mean, I think all these studios are noticing what Marvel's doing, except they don't stop and think that Marvel's had 10 years and nearly 24 movies to introduce all these characters, you know, like Justice League threw all the characters in right off the bat. You know, and they're going to do the same with this X-Force stuff. I mean, at least Deadpool 1 used like the most Z-list character as a villain, you know, and there was only kind of 1.5 villains, you know. I mean, we haven't even really seen a villain in this. Is Cable kind of the antagonist in this? I mean, that's what I've gotten from the trailer.
That's what I got.
I don't know. I just think they're trying to make as many comic book fans happy as possible. But comic book fans are usually never happy with the end results.
So I'm interested in your take, Adam, on the portrayal of Cable. For you guys, I mean, does this feel like Cable? Does this kind of fill your expectations? You know, just the look, the feel, the way he sounds. How are you feeling about Cable in this trailer?
So anytime I think of Cable, I think of Rob Liefeld's terrible drawings. We're talking about the huge chested men with a zillion pockets on their pants and a million guns that put AR-15s to shame with like 50 million bullets hanging off of them. I mean, that's what I think of when I think of Cable, that he was kind of like the 90s superstar of sorts. Not really getting that. In terms of characterization, I mean, he's pretty much complete opposites of Deadpool's wise ass cracking jokes all the time. So yeah, I would guess it's probably too early to tell, for me at least. But then again, it's not like Cable is my favorite superhero by any means. I would guess some person somewhere has thoughts on Cable.
I thought the introduction of him, like how strong he is, like there was kind of this little fight scene where he was just like knocking Deadpool around like a rag doll. I thought that was good. I mean, I thought it was interesting. I think Josh Brolin is going to make a good Cable, and I felt like it was different enough from Thanos that it's not going to bug me like I thought maybe it was. Rhiannon, you felt like they were a little similar for your taste?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just recently getting more views of Thanos, you know, seeing a little more of Thanos in action rather than just being sort of an image. And then seeing Cable, I was kind of just getting the same vibe from the two. And with the two movies coming out kind of close, I mean, maybe your everyday person isn't going to notice it, but I never thought that would be an issue, but I think it might be an issue.
As we continue forward towards this Fox deal, do you guys think, like, what do you think the end game is here as far as, do you want to see Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool folded into the MCU? We've talked about how it'd be relatively easy to do because he does the fourth wall thing. Or, I don't know, do you feel like this is a character that you want to see added to your MCU, or would you be happy to just let him kind of finish his deal off at Fox and never come over?
I think for Deadpool to make sense in the current MCU, I think the only role that would suit him would be replacing Stan Lee's cameos. I think Rhiannon mentioned that a while back. But you can't have Deadpool without a rated R movie, you know. Deadpool needs the F-bombs and sticking his finger through a bullet hole on his wrist and that sort of stuff, you know. Without that stuff, I mean, you're going to have very upset Deadpool fans. So, I mean, I guess I don't have an answer for your question. You know, I want to see it exist in the MCU, but, I mean, are they going to... I mean, I had people on Facebook upset that they took their kids to Deadpool because it was a superhero movie, you know. Obviously, it's their fault because they didn't bother even watching the trailers, you know, but if I don't know. Are they gonna? If it's part of the MCU, they can't market it that, oh hey, it belongs besides Iron Man and Spider Man. You know, I guess it just doesn't really fit unless they do like a Marvel Knights Red Band section of the universe. But I don't know. In terms of, I mean, the cameos make sense because it's the fourth wall breaking stuff and all of that. But other than that, I mean, a PG-13 Deadpool movie is going to be very, very bad.
Yeah, I forget that people do conflate all comic book movies together. Like, I literally today talked to a friend, and he was trying to figure out a movie to see, and he's like, oh, you like the comic movies? Like, what's the deal with this Black Panther movie? So I explained a little bit of him, and he goes, oh, that's really good. Like, I don't know. The last time I went to a comic movie was Deadpool, and it was so raunchy and stuff, I kind of gave up on comic book movies. And it would never, like, at all hit my brain that you would confuse what happened in Deadpool with Black Panther, right? But for some people, those things get conflated together. So I did kind of like I did like the action I saw in the trailer. Like, there was a few ways that his powers were getting, like, the deal where the gun got stuck into his hand and then he like turned his hand around and shot the guy. Like, I don't know. I think they're doing some fun things with the fight scenes. I let me put it this way. I like this more after seeing this trailer. I was not looking forward to this at all. And then this came around and I was like, okay, it'll be okay that I have to go see that in the theaters. So, I don't know. This one went around a little different for me. So I thought it was a little bit better. All right. Moving on to our mailbag. Couple things. First of all, if you guys are listening to the podcast for the first time because you kind of learned about it through the Supercut, we're really happy to have you on board. Thanks for listening. We got so many great, kind comments on the Supercut on YouTube. There was no way the mailbag would be longer than the episode. Like, there was just so much good stuff. So we appreciate it. We've read a lot of it. I think Charles has probably read all of it. And so thanks for leaving all those comments, and that's been great. Via SoundCloud. So we talked some about the Sokovia Accords last week, and Alvin on YouTube and Chris on SoundCloud both suggested that the Sokovia Accords only count for the Avengers or for international superheroes. I thought immediately, that's not right. And then the more I looked it up and looked at the language in the movie, I think that's really possible. That, like, the Sokovia Accords are not meant for someone like Jessica Jones or whoever. But then there was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. Like, I felt like S.H.I.E.L.D. was, like, tracking down superhero people. Like, what's going on with that? Does that, like, seem like a reasonable explanation that Jessica wouldn't have to sign the Accords?
Didn't they? I mean, yeah, it wasn't S.H.I.E.L.D. tasked with tracking, like, Inhumans down that didn't sign the Sokovia Accord?
Yeah.
Because I thought Yo-Yo at one point signed them, or I think Yo-Yo even said she signed them, or because they had to do the checkups on.
But Yo-Yo's a foreigner. Isn't she a foreigner?
Yeah, that's the thing, though. She's international, so...
But, I mean, I saw S.H.I.E.L.D. was only... Because, I mean, they made more than one stop, didn't they?
Did Daisy
stop
have
and
to sign
visit
them?
the Melty Hands guy? I thought they, like, stopped and visited a lot of people that they had to check up with, like the, Fire dude. What's the Fire dude's name?
Oh, yeah, the guy that was in a fireworks shop last time we saw him. Yeah, but
yeah.
He's Australian, right?
Oh. Maybe you guys are onto something then. It just seems like they had to do these... I don't know, maybe. But I mean...
But Joey Gutierrez. I feel like Joey Gutierrez had to sign, and he is not international. But people would say, well, or if you're in S.H.I.E.L.D. But it seems like this is a really convenient law if it only applies to people with exceptions. Like, if you're international, or you're a S.H.I.E.L.D., or you're an Avenger, but anybody who we didn't actually put in the shows, I don't know. It's some of an explanation, and I've heard it enough that I maybe believe it, but I don't know. It doesn't seem right.
I don't know. I guess my headcanon is that, I mean, the Sokovia Accords is the MCU's version of the is a superhero superhuman registration.
Yeah, whatever.
So I just assumed. I guess I never even thought about it. I just automatically assumed that every single powered person had to sign.
Yeah, which also makes me wonder, are they... T'Challa's not signing this, right? Even though he's the one that put it in place? Like, how is that going to work? Now that's bothering me. All right. Chris was asking, we were saying last week they were surprised Jessica didn't call up Luke Cage when she had trouble. And he was saying that he wasn't sure if they would based on their relationship. Rhiannon, I can't remember. In The Defenders, Luke and Jessica kind of make up at the end, right?
I mean, there was an actual comment of we should meet for coffee sometime.
Well, there you go. If they can meet for coffee, they can fight bad guys, right? I mean, I don't know how the superhero community works, but I think fighting bad guys is a lower level of commitment than coffee. But
I mean, I think Jessica said it, so she doesn't know that coffee is a euphemism. But
okay.
But we all did.
Right, yeah. That was the intention. Indie Film Productions on YouTube left a couple comments. Thanks for interacting with the show. I was just talking a little bit about Thanos' motivation and that he liked the idea of a Jessica Jones action figure that she would be disgusted by. So, one more interaction thing. Adam, did we go live with the Deathpool thing? Where people can play along at home?
Yes, I can pull that up. That's live and ready to go. I just don't know what the address is.
Okay, so what we've done, if you guys listened to the show last week, we made a draft picks about who would die in Avengers Infinity War, and we are going to let you play along at home. So we've kind of made a little form. You can make your predictions of who will die. We sort of put them into bands based on our draft picks, and we would love for you to play along at home. I think that could be fun, so feel free to do that. What's the link, Adam?
To play along, go to marvelnewsdesk.com/deathpool.
/Deathpool. Not /Deadpool. I don't think that's
Deadpool.
anything, but Deathpool.
No.
DEATHPOOL. Awesome. All right, I think that does it. You guys have anything else you wanted to say for the pod this week before we sign off? Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. You can interact with us a lot of ways. You can send us a message on Twitter via our hashtag @MarvelNewsDesk. Not via our hashtag or handle @MarvelNewsDesk. You can also communicate with us via SoundCloud or the MarvelNewsDesk.com posts each week. If you want to support the show, give us $1 a month over at patreon.com/MarvelNewsDesk. When you do that, you get access to our special MCU film ranking episode, available only to our Patreon supporters, as well as early access to videos such as the Road to Infinity War Supercut. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/MarvelNewsDesk or subscribe to us on YouTube at www.watch.marvelnewsdesk.com. Again, that's the big one right now. If you'll subscribe on YouTube, that'd be really helpful. You can help the show be more visible to others if you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. But the number one thing you can do every week is listen and tell your friends about it. We want to thank Tim Cox for our logo. You can find him on Instagram at TimVCox. And thank you to Alvin for our wonderful theme music. He's on a variety of social media platforms as @TheSkullSchool. All right. I think that does it for this week, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.